Hello again everybody. I can't believe that with well over 6 months to build a guitar, I still managed to bring it down to the wire and produce my last video, the final entry video, on the very last day in a rush, and having not released half the videos I planned to during the process. But the guitar is built, here it is, and I'm pretty pleased with it. I like the way it looks. It sounds very good. I tried some new things, or at least new to me, and learnt a lot from the mistakes I made, inevitably. But the end product was great, so I think all in all it's a very good result. The video is about half an hour long. Anyone who's not really interested in seeing an old git in his garage building a guitar can wind forward to the demo part of the video. I'll put the timestamp on the screen, and there'll be timestamps for the whole video in the description. I'm going to cut this short. That's all from me for now and for this year. I'll try and do better next year. But anyway, until then, goodbye for now. The main bindings are also curly maple with a black veneer. This fret sawing jig is an idea I got from Totnes, the school I learnt to make a guitar in, and I just built one when I got home. It's a fantastic jig because it's completely flexible, adaptable to any scale length, ukulele, bass guitar, anything. And this one is my own invention, and I use it to establish the nut and saddle offset so that all notes play in tune. So here's the fretted 12th and the 2nd fret down at the bottom, and they're all perfectly in tune. I use a combination of hand plane and sanding to get the shape of the braces right. I block the braces together on the sanding dish because this helps keep them vertical, so the gluing surface is perpendicular. I normally do a central reinforcement strip on the back, but this time I decided to make these little cleats because, well, just for a change. I think they look quite nice. And now on to gluing the braces on the top. I start with the minor braces because once they're on I can shape the particularly the parts that intersect with the X-brace, because it's much easier to do it before the X-brace goes on. And actually I have a little tenon so that they tuck into the X-brace, so in fact they need to go on before that big one. I'm just sort of feeling the top for flexibility to have an idea how far down to carve the braces, but much of this will be done after the X-brace is on. So the first leg goes on and it goes over the little tenons I've already cut on the small braces, followed by the second leg, which obviously interlocks with the first as well as the minor braces. It's much easier to do this kind of flexibility testing through the sound hole, but I'd covered the top and didn't bother to cut the hole out, which I should have done really. This little piece of wood which spans the gap in one of the X-brace arms is what Irvin Samoji called the most important gram of wood in the whole guitar. Here I'm just thinning down the fingerboard because it's going to be bound, and so I have to get it the right width once the bindings are on. I made a little tool up out of a piece of fret wire, bent, which I mounted in a handle and took the tangs off, and I just use it to check the depth of the fret slots before the binding goes on. The 5th fret inlay is going to be the Chinese ideogram for peace, and I'm cutting the bits out of a piece of ebony here. This will be the cavity, but just listen to this, I couldn't have planned it better, it's amazing. My Dremel's going to play along, just listen. Perfect 5th. I'm finally getting ready to cut the soundport on the guitar. I've been putting it off for days, thinking about how best to do it, because although I've done some detailed inlays before, that's generally been on dark wood, where you can basically get away with a murder in terms of the gaps around an inlay. They can be filled and become almost invisible afterwards. But with a cutout, obviously there's no room for error. I've put a patch of plywood on the inside, very thin plywood, just to reinforce the wood in it. I hope hold the fine points and the knee feathers and things like that. But I was wondering how on earth I was going to cut the plant, the olive. And in fact, I've decided that I'm not going to do a through cut for that. I'm going to done myself. Before the top gets glued on, both the blocks at the heel and the tail end have to be planed down so they conform to the long arch of the top. There's a story attached to this part of the build, why I'm doing this now at this stage. It was actually the result of one of many screw-ups I made during the course of the build. In fact, I could make a longer video than this one probably on all the cock-ups I made and how I had to fix them, which I did. I mean, the guitar has turned out great in the end. So here I'm doing something, putting the arm bevel in, which I should have done a lot earlier. And finally I let gravity do the work for me, and I just left it like this overnight. You can see the bevel now on the edge of the guitar. I will have to shape the side by cutting it down. I had a habit of putting olive wood in my guitars just as a sort of little signature feature, and here it's a cover for the truss rod access hole. used a variety of methods for gluing on the back and the top. Here I'm doing the back obviously with sport lamps, but I've used the go-bar deck and the surgical band that you saw on the top. The trouble with sport lamps and the mould I use is that I can't always find room. There are no prizes for guessing the significance of the inlay that's going in here, but I've got another one coming up which I think will fox a few people. Certainly would have done me before I looked it up. Anyway, this one's easy. It's made up of burl maple, which has been dyed under vacuum. I'm quite pleased with the way it came out. I think it looks good, but to be perfectly honest, the real star of the show is the wood around it. As you can see, I've already done the scarf joint and I've blocked the heel up from cut-offs from the end of the neck, so we join it at the point where I'm doing the truss rod slot. I've done my usual trick of printing out the inlay I want to put in different sizes, just so I can try it up against what I'm going to put it into. So in this case, this disc. laughing at me. Go away. can see here that the neck's already been finished. I normally French polish the whole guitar, but on this one I decided I would lacquer everything except the top. So this process starts, as you can see, with just a crude wash coat being wiped on. The bulk of the French polishing process is many sessions like this, where you use a pad soaked in alcohol and shellac. Alcohol is the solvent, to rub very thin layers of shellac onto the surface. They build up each time you cover a certain area. I use oil as a lubricant to help the pad move, and start with sort of circular motions as you saw, and then go on to sort of longer figure-of-8 style movements. It's important to keep the pad moving because it will try and stick if it can. The oil helps, but you still have to keep the pad moving. So many sessions later you get the beginnings of a shine like this. This isn't final, but it's what it looks like after a while.
Chris's guitar, amazing, wonderful.